Streets and Scholars, Alex Alonso and FG, here to bring you guys another banger. I'm here with the East Side General himself. How's it going, man?
Man, what's going on with it? How your day going?
Oh, everything's going good over here, and I know you prepping for your daughter this weekend, ain't you?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Been out in the yard and just getting some things together. It always start off. It just supposed to be some family showing up, but sound like man, I'm gonna have a whole house full. So but it's all good. It's always good when family around. So that's a plus.
I see how plush your backyard is looking, though.
Shit, man, I'm trying to keep it green, man. And get it done, and I want to look like Augusta, but it's so hard to keep it up, bro. And but at the same time, man, I appreciate that, man. Sometimes I just go out there, kick back, give me a little peace of mind. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to chill like that.
Man, I can't never keep my yard green, man. It's just too much work.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I be saying the same thing, man. It's just getting a little, to where maybe, man, I'm gonna get to the point where I don't even want no yard. I like, put some rocks or something out there, man. I
Yeah,
don't, you know what I mean? So I feel you.
that's what I want to do. I want to do a little rock landscape.
Yeah.
Man, I've been battling with grass for I don't know how many years, and I don't think grass likes me, man. No
Yeah,
matter
you
what
and
I
grass
do,
ain't cool. Yeah, yeah.
no matter where I live, no matter where I'm at, I can't get grass to stay green, man. I just don't even care anymore.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you, man.
But your backyard is laid out though, man, with the whole canopy and the sitting area.
No doubt. I mean, we try to get it to the point to where, I think wifey try to get it to the point to make a dude stay home more. You know what I mean? And chill
Yeah.
more. She know I like to run them streets, man. And but at the same time, like I say, we have function for the kids or grandkids or some, like I say, cool. We fortunate enough to be able to hold something, man, and have a good time and have the aesthetics of a green grass and things of that nature, man. And so yeah, man, it's like I said, it's a the upkeep is something else, but at the same time, man, it's good when the family over running around having a good time too.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna be doing the same thing this weekend too. My wife's family's coming through, and I was supposed to post up with some of your homies this weekend. I know you can't make it. Looks like I might not be able to make it, man. So family comes first, huh?
No, no doubt, man. Like I say, sometimes we hate to miss out on, especially when certain homies that we ain't seen in a while is gonna be around and popping up, or and they usually come. It's usually a picnic or some kind of pool party or function where you're gonna see dudes you ain't seen in 15, 20 years, man. That's always a good thing. But at the end of the day, man, like you say, we got to take care of our family obligations, man, and get out in the streets and get in with the homies when we can.
Yes, man, definitely. What else? I want to let the people know that I'm dropping some content. I got some interviews that's coming. I just dropped Do Sam's from Fruittown Brim. So go tap in and check those out. I got more parts of Do Sam's coming. I just dropped ODM Slim, who's also known as Lil Bop from the 50s, neighborhood crip 50s. I'm dropping that. And of course the Streets and Scholars clips are dropping. And hopefully we got some more content coming on FG Unleashed.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm finna go pull up on Madball from Elm Street, Pyro and Compton, man. Him and American Cholo and a few others was just on a little TV show. And the little TV show was basically like they were trying to figure out who wasn't the real gangster. And it was funny, it was cool, you know what I mean? I believe somebody in the comments on the show or something said, "No, Gil ain't a real gangster. He a cop." You know what I mean? And but at the same time, he definitely from the streets and shit. So I want to go sit down with the homie and get the full story on how he navigated, to get on the show and things of that nature. He a real, power root dude. So I see him doing this thing, man. I see him moving further. So I'm gonna go pull up on Madball from the Elms, man, and get his story.
Did anybody get it correct on that show? I didn't get to see that. I thought was you supposed to send me the link to that?
Yeah, yeah. I meant to send you the link, and we was supposed to call the homie and everything, but at the same time, I didn't get to fully see who was who they said that's was deemed as the not a real gangster. You know what I mean? That's why I said I'm gonna pull up on the store, homie, and get the story so we can know how it went.
Okay, okay. So we got some more content coming on FG Unleashed, man, because everybody's been asking. And then I reposted your interview you did with Skip. I actually watched that interview again. I thought that was a hell of an
Oh,
interview,
okay.
man.
You know what I did, man, and I appreciate you doing that because it was a good interview to me. You know what I mean? And I ain't talked to Skip in a while, man. I need to call old Skip, see how he doing because definitely rooting for him. But I appreciate him for having me on. We was talking some real shit on that situation, and I appreciate him for having me, man. So yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, man, for sure. Let's get into one of our topics. Actually, an update, man. Cain Valesquez. We haven't really heard about Cain Valesquez. We
Yeah.
haven't we haven't talked about Cain Valesquez in a minute, but I just want to let the people know that he's got a court date scheduled for May 24th.
Mm-hmm.
May 24th. They're setting trial setting a hearing. It's a hearing for whether or not. Let me see. I think it's a hearing to figure out when's the date he's going to go on trial.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's coming up soon. I know we haven't spoke about it in a minute, but you remember some of the details?
Well, this is a situation where he allegedly jumped out and shot Harry Goularte. Am I right?
Correct.
Up north, about the molestation allegations that he placed on Harry at the daycare center that Harry Goularte, I believe, his mom owned. So, I was actually wondering whatever happened, but I do know the wheels move slow in some of these cases as the defense and the, DAs are getting they information and they stuff together to go to trial. So I'm that's one case, man. I'm interested to see how it goes because I'm really hoping Kane can beat that shit or get the bare minimum, man.
Oh yeah, man. It is a wild case up there. It took him forever to at least 8 months to get bail.
Right. And that was crazy in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what's crazy, it wasn't the black judge. Remember, there was a black judge overseeing this case, and then for some reason they either changed the judge or she wasn't in. It was that other judge that gave him bail. It wasn't even
Right,
the
no doubt,
sister.
for real. Yeah, because I think her name was Shalana, something like that, and Shalana Brown or something. She
Yeah.
definitely wasn't trying to show him no action, Alex, and I was disappointed in her for that because I mean, I believe every person should be able to get bail unless it's some super outstanding shit that they done that's don't record, just impossible to give them one. But in this case, that just wasn't the case, man. So
Okay. So they don't have that. The Shalane is not the judge for these court hearings, and he's rescheduled to be in court on May 24th. And on May 24th, they may settle a date for trial. It says here he's facing a minimum of 20 years in prison. And this is up there in Santa Clara County. And let me just also give you guys a little update on his alleged victim. His alleged victim is, as you said, Harry Goularte. And of course, Harry Goularte is fighting his own case. That's what this is all about. And this is a picture, I believe this is a picture of Harry Goularte from NBC News sitting in court, waiting to find out what's going to go on with his case. He's also has a delay, and he'll be going to trial probably this year too.
hey, man, and that was the thing about it. I was hoping Harry went to trial before Kane. And I think that could be a battle of a strategic move that both teams are probably trying to work, and because if you find Harry guilty, then a jury may have some sympathy on Kane at the end of the day in his case. So I believe it's a strategy going on over there. I know if I was fighting that case, I would try to have my attorneys, play strategically. So, but we gonna definitely see, where it land, man. But look at Harry, man. He looked like he's suspicious, man. You know what I mean? You
But check
know.
check out the title of this article. It says he waives his right to speedy trial, which means he's trying to delay it, perhaps for the reason you just brought up. He doesn't want his case to get adjudicated before Cain
Right.
Velasquez's case.
Yeah, they playing some chess up there, man. We gonna see who come out on top.
Yeah, man. That's also a bizarre case. It looks like he's being charged with let's see. It says he pled not guilty to one felony charge of lewd act with a minor under the age of 14, which was apparently was Cain Velasquez's son. He was arrested for allegedly touching the genitals of a child in a bathroom at that daycare center that his mom owned. So We'll find out if all that's true. But that's pretty much the update. Both these guys look like they're delaying trial, but it looks like they're going to have to go to trial at some point in 2023, man.
No doubt, no doubt. So keep us posted, Alex. I'm glad you re-brought that up, man, because I know a lot of people wanted to know, but kind of forgot about it with so much shit going on in the news, you know?
Man, it's so easy to forget something because there's just so much.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's not that there's so much news. There's just so much news sources now because everybody's doing
Right.
news.
You absolutely right. You absolutely right.
Also, let's tap in with this story we talked about before. The four people from, I believe they were from South Carolina. They went into Mexico through Texas. Apparently, one female, two males. The story was she went down there for cosmetic surgery, and they end up getting shot up by the Mexican cartel.
Right.
And two of them got killed. One was two survived. Two got killed. And what was your initial belief of what was going on with these four folks?
My initial belief is they was going over there on some sneaky shit. You know, they was going over there to either, try to get a deal on some work or, just something, shit, something illegal. I'm gonna put it like that. You know, they all had, previous histories. That don't mean anything, but at the same time, four people going with one girl to get some surgery don't sound right in itself. I believe somebody might have thought they had a plug on something or somebody and end up at the wrong place at the wrong time is how I kind of figured it out. But I'm not, 100% sure. That's just my theory on it.
Yeah, well, the two survivors ended up doing an interview for CNN, and I want to play a clip so we could actually hear. We could hear from the two survivors of that shootout in Mexico. Latavia Washington McGee, and the other survivor is Eric Williams, and they both gave an interview to Anderson Cooper, and you can see the brother he's sitting in a wheelchair, shot up, his leg is shot up, and then the two that passed were Zindell Brown and Shaeed Woodard. So let me play this little clip here, and let's see if we can get any insight into what really happened by listening to their voices directly.
First of all, when you're brought back to this house, it's been a huge relief to at least be reunited.
It felt good because I kept asking them. I said I wanted to go with my brother.
So what happened at this new location?
I just know I was in the clinic and some people came and knocked on the door. They said they came in and bagged the bodies up. They said we were going to take you to your brother. So I thought they was going to take me to the hospital, but they put me in the back of a truck. They put me in the front and they put the bodies in the back. I don't know, they had me blindfold covered up. They took me a little piece. We switched vehicles. They put us in another vehicle and then they covered me up and we rode a little bit. And then I just know they backed in somewhere, took me out and took me in a room and I saw him and some more people.
There were other people.
Yeah.
Who were the other people?
The people who was captive.
Kidnapped.
I can't believe how much you guys were moved around. I mean, this has got to be so confusing for you when you.
And then what I think we was gonna never be found because they had police scanners and all types of stuff in their truck. So
they were listening to police, so
yeah,
they
knew what was going on. They always was a step ahead.
Right.
So I was like, they're never gonna find us like this.
So you're in that location now together, reunited. You're there till Monday, you said?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
A guy came in Saturday night, sometime after we ended up falling asleep. But I just know I felt like it was dark in the room we was at. So when I rolled over, I could see somebody standing at the door with a phone light. And he was like, can y'all get up? Can I talk to y'all? So me and E sat up and he was like,
I assume he didn't say y'all.
No, he said, can y'all get up? Can y'all get up? I have something to say. And he was like, there's nothing that we can do to bring your two brothers back. He was like, but we're sorry. Somebody made the wrong call. They was high and drunk. And I'm from America too. And he said, I'm fighting with my boss for him to give y'all up. He's like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but we're gonna try to get y'all back home to y'all family. And he's like, I'm sorry, there's no words, there's nothing we can do to repay He just basically kept saying he's sorry. He's like, when I give y'all up, I'm gonna leave too because they're gonna kill me for letting y'all go. And he said, well, I'm gonna come back Sunday and get y'all, but he didn't come back till Monday.
He comes back on
Monday
and says what?
They just blindfold us and blindfold us. They blindfolded him. They took me out first. They put me in the back of the truck, and they put the seat down and pushed me through to the front. Then they brought Eric and put him in the back and put Shaeed and Zindell in the back with him too.
But they'll get everybody's over top of me to hide me.
They put your friends' bodies on top of you to hide you.
Me. Yes.
So they took us to this other location. We met a truck. To another stop. They put the bodies on the back, me in the middle, and Eric on the floor.
Almost on the floor,
like under my feet
this time. Yeah.
And they just kept, and I was like, so they was like, we promised. The man said he promised, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna get you back. We just don't know how we're gonna get y'all back.
So that's part of a longer interview that Anderson Cooper did, and after hearing her tell the story, man, I'm starting to have a little bit more sympathy and feeling for her. Am I being duped, FG, or do you feel like it's all an act?
No, you know what? I kind of tended to have the same, feeling, and then not to mention just seeing her physically, I mean, she looked like she could use a tummy tuck. So maybe she really was going over there to really get one, So
yeah.
I'm starting to have second thoughts too. Maybe she, really was going over there to get some surgery. But at the same time, man, it was an unfortunate incident, whatever they was over there for. People just don't realize that you can't float around Mexico like that. You know what I mean? And it's places you can go, it's places you can't. They escaped with their lives. Unfortunately, their friends didn't. I believe this is one of those incident, Alice, where they gonna go to their grave for what they was really over there doing, because it hasn't been, spoke about. I still believe it's a bigger story. It may not be drugs, or it may not be, something of that nature, but it's a bigger story. Something else happened that we not gonna probably ever know about. I just don't think it was just cut and dry. The guys were drunk, made a mistake, and knocked down some Americans just because.
Yeah, it's a little unusual. I wonder if someone from a cartel would actually go back to the victims and apologize. Usually, people on the cartel level, they don't give a F if they made a mistake. It's part of the business. But why would they feel so sympathetic to some black folks that they accidentally killed? That's the part that I don't get.
No doubt. And then for me, it's more or less like why they didn't kill them all, bury them all, and wouldn't even they would have never found them when it never would have been a story. It would have just been some missing black folks. You know what I mean? And how much, Mexico wasn't going to investigate it. The U.S. wasn't going to go over there just because somebody say our people went over there. So I'm wondering, and that's the part about it where I really believe somebody in the cartel may have really made a mistake. They really felt some kind of sympathy because you really made a bad move. Somebody had a heart. The gangster decision, like I say, is okay. If we kill two, we might as well kill them all and bury them and never have a story. Why they, and then Anderson Cooper. I mean, it's known to had happened. So all that puzzles me. That's why I said just something about this that we not getting. But at the same time, man, it's crazy that they was able to make it out with their lives, man. Them two right there.
Yeah, according to the story, the two that got killed were shot because they jumped out the car and started running. That would have been Zindell Brown and Shaeed Woodard. They jumped out the car.
Oh, okay.
Now, Eric Williams, the guy there with the leg cast on, he was the driver. He eventually jumped out the car, and they just shot his legs up. They said, "You ain't going nowhere."
Got you.
And I guess Latavia, we got to keep it real. She didn't get shot because I believe she's a female, and they just probably felt like she was no threat.
Well, they probably felt like if she run, we can catch her, but as a woman, she could have been screaming and hollering, doing to all the shooting that was going on, and what she just witnessed. She probably was so hysterical at the time, that they didn't need to do anything, to subdue her or nothing like that. She probably was so scared at that moment. All they had to say was whatever instructions they needed, and she was going to do them. So, but it's just still crazy, man, that the story got out, 2 was released. We sorry for killing your partners, but nothing we can do. That's just that's jacked up, homie.
Yeah, it is, and because it happened in Mexico, there's nothing that the United States can do on this side. Apparently, Mexico has arrested, or the cartel turned over those guys that were quote unquote drunk, and they'll be facing some charges for those 2 killings. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. The video of them, they did that interview a couple weeks ago, and I feel a little bit more compassion and more understanding. Perhaps, just perhaps, maybe they were really there just to go to Mexico and do something. I know you had a different view, and I was initially believing that they could have been down there for some shady activity because they all had criminal records. All the dudes had criminal
Right.
records. And I figured maybe it is related to some drug stuff, but who knows? We'll probably never get the truth on that story.
Right. But at the same time, man, like I say, this stuff is happening all the time, especially with this U.S. Mexico relationship crossing these borders. You people be safe out there when you're doing it, man. And just when you go over there, man, stay in them tourist sections, man. Stop trying to hit them back streets and, do that extra shit, man, because they do have different sets of rules over there that they lawless over there in certain parts over there.
Definitely, man. Hey, on a story we were covering last week on Pras, and as soon as we finished the episode, he was found guilty because they were in deliberations for a couple of days. So as soon as our episode hit, he was found guilty of all 10 federal counts, man.
No doubt, he was found guilty of 10 out of 12, man, and unfortunately, man, for Pras, he gonna have to pay the piper, in some way. I don't know what kind of time. I knew the max I heard, just heard was 22. I'm not sure about, what it is now or nothing like that, but just waiting to see what kind of time he gonna get handed down, because Pras got to be what, 50, 52, 53, something like that.
Yep.
And, to get a 20-year sentence at that age, could push you back to, 67, 60, 60, 66, 67. So just trying to see if he gonna have any more life on the back end, if he gonna be able to go walk that sentence off.
Yeah, let me play this short clip of breaking news when our episode just dropped last week. Here it goes.
Former member of the Fugees has been convicted of 10 finance-related federal charges, including money laundering and campaign finance violations. You probably remember the Fugees, 90s, Pras Michelle. He was part of it with Lauryn Hill and Wyclef Jean. But Michelle has now been found guilty of using illegally obtained money to get closer to former President Obama during his 2012 campaign and using millions more to bankroll an expensive lifestyle. NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos joins me now. We have laid out the charges against Pras Michelle, now found guilty. And the details here are pretty interesting. Talk us through it and your reaction to what we're learning in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, this may be colored by the fact that I am a defense attorney, and I actually recently defended money laundering charges in federal court. And money laundering charges are very broadly written as a statute and can be, in my opinion, relatively easy for the government to prove. But in addition, you have FARA violations. That involves an agent of a foreign. Yeah, exactly. It's a law that prohibits, or I should say requires at least registration if you're working on behalf of a foreign national. It's the kind of thing that became widely learned or known during the Paul Manafort era several years ago. But I would argue before that, there were not a lot of regular citizens that knew about FARA, and there weren't a whole lot of FARA violation prosecutions in this country going back a couple decades. So it's not something that's generally known. That's why I think it's a possibility this defendant probably really didn't know that the mere distinction that he was doing the bidding of a foreign national as opposed to somebody else made such a difference. Just to give you an example, one of the allegations was that one of his co-defendants, a foreign national, gave this defendant $20 million to get a photograph with President Obama. Now, if it didn't involve a foreign national and it didn't involve President Obama, if somebody gave me $20 million to get a photograph with Hallie Jackson, I would take that money. It would be lawful, and I wouldn't tell Hallie Jackson how much I was getting paid. And I would definitely try to get that picture done, and it wouldn't be a violation. The existence of that political angle and the foreign national is what makes some of these things criminal. A lot of citizens don't know it.
All right, there we go. I think this guy broke it down pretty clear. We kind of talked about this last week that maybe Pras was engaging in activity that he thought was completely lawful.
No doubt. It's highly possible, but at the same time, unfortunately, they got laws on top of laws, and they'll find one for your ass if they want one. They go dig one out that you never heard of, just like the the May 6th rioters when they came out with that law. What was that?
Seditious conspiracy.
Seditious conspiracy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say they ain't used it in 100 years.
Yeah.
But they'll go dig it out on your ass. So it's similar. They was going to get him on something. They wanted him. And like you say, dealing with foreign nationals, that's always a tricky situation, no matter what you're doing. So maybe what he felt he was doing wasn't illegal, but like they say, it wasn't illegal until you involved a foreign national. So. But, and in the federal court, ignorance is no excuse. They may take consideration into that when they sentencing, but ignorance ain't no excuse on the conviction.
Yeah, imagine you back in 2004 saying to the judge, man, I didn't know if I told the homie to rock it up, I was going to be involved in a crack conspiracy. Let me go, right?
No doubt, but at the same time, shit, I think I damn near did, and because at the same time, had you known something like that, you don't make those mistakes, and it's something as simple as that can still make a case go from 2 years to 10 years, and this can be the same in his case, in Pras' case, that like you say, just dealing with the foreign people that they gonna try to slap him upside the head with it. That was a lot of money that he was dealing with. So we gonna see how it pan out, man. What kind of time you think he looking at?
Well, he's looking at like 21, 22 years. I want to show the photo that Pras actually made happen for Zhou. How you say this guy's name? Jho Low? Jho Low. This is the photo that Jho Low, the Chinese tycoon, and I mean, this guy got lots of titles. He's a quote unquote businessman. He's a scammer. He's actually a fugitive right now of the law in the country of Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit of everything. But this man right here, this Chinese man, Jho Low, paid Pras $20 million. But I believe Pras finessed him a little bit, because I did a little digging on this. He asked Pras, he said, I'm coming to the United States and I need you to make this photo happen. And Pras said, okay, send me $1 million and I'll figure out what it's going to take. And then over the course of the next 9 months, Pras kept on asking him for more money that totaled $20 million. So in 9 months, he gave Pras $20 million, and it turns out that Pras only spent $2 million of that money to make the picture happen, and he pocketed the $18 million.
Hey, but that's the game,
That is the game.
but he got it done. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised that, he was able to do that. Apparently he had to grease some palms somewhere to get it done, but he definitely got it done, man. And so I believe that they're going to, he tap him on the wrist, for, like I say, you dealing with a presidential campaign, you dealing with, foreign people, it's, they gonna think they gonna holler at him a little bit.
Now, do you think the average person should know that if a foreigner offers me millions of dollars to take a picture with some politicians in the United States, that I'm possibly violating a law? Or like that attorney said in that clip that I just played, that most people's red flags wouldn't be going up?
But it seemed like it should, and that's just me saying when you're dealing with a foreign diplomats, when you're dealing with foreign money, these people are coming over here for something, and they asking you for something, and then in a political form, they not asking you to come over here to buy up some property for them. They not asking you to come over here to make some investments into, Ford or GM form. They asking you to get into some political shit that anytime you dealing in politics, man, that it can go either way, you know what I mean? Especially with the contributions to the campaigns and shit, you know what I mean? There's so many laws they have around, campaign contributions that, I mean, you should, know everything about those laws before you even start doing that. So he had it from two angles. He dabbled in the campaign contributions. Then he also dabbled with getting money from foreign diplomats to contribute to the campaign contribution. That seemed like I mean, to me, it seemed like everybody should know that somewhere in between the two, it's a no-no.
Well, this goes to show everyone who's a follower of Pras or a fan of Pras that he has actually no sort of business accomplishments. He doesn't have any successful companies. He was just getting money from the Chinese. That's
Hey,
it.
that's it. But he did a good job at it. I can't hate on him. He got himself in too deep. So did I hear them say that Jho Low is like his co-defendant, or they also got charges lined up for him as well?
Well, Jho Low is not a co-defendant to Pras because Jho Low escaped. He escaped Malaysia before they arrested him. He's now in China, and
Oh, okay.
the Chinese government seems to be cool with Jho Low. They're not tripping on him.
Gotcha.
But the United States would like to get him into custody, and so would the Malaysian government. But it was that other guy, Guang Gui, that the United States arrested. I believe he was a part of that case with Pras.
Right. Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, man. It's crazy that Pras. I feel like anybody can get that picture done with that much money. If you ask me, can you get me a picture with Joe Biden? I'll make that happen if I have $20 million at my, available to me. I'm just going to figure out which dinners is Joe Biden going to be at. How much does it cost for a plate?
Exactly.
What is it? 10,000 a plate, 20,000 a plate, and just make it happen. And that's all
Make it
Pras
happen.
did.
No doubt. Whisper that I donate something to the campaign, something significant. You know what I mean? We would like a picture with you. I mean, I don't think it would be hard for you to get done, to be honest with you. On the backside, it's just like you say, when the money coming from foreign diplomats and stuff like that, I believe, that your ears would be like, hold on, let me kind of make sure that something I'm doing, is cool. It don't seem like a picture should be illegal. But they did, like they say, that in order to get the picture, you had to donate to, the campaign and other sources of things of that nature. And I think that's when the violation came in at.
Yeah, definitely. It's that foreign money, and then also some of that money was also used to donate to Barack Obama's 2012 campaign,
Right.
and then they also gave Trump some money in 2016 to try to find out if they can be softer on a case. A Chinese guy was being indicted, so it's all kind of illegal. That part is definitely illegal.
Right.
When you're giving money to a campaign and the purpose is, can you be easy on this defendant or possibly let him out? You got to know you're crossing the line at some point. And Pras was enjoying his life though, living with those millions of dollars.
No doubt, Alex, but this thing going on all the time. Chief Justice John Roberts, he's the highest serving member on the Supreme Court. His wife is under scrutiny right now for taking financial contributions and meetings with people who's going to have cases eventually seen before the court. So she's under scrutiny right now for some of hers. Not saying that it's illegal, but people are pointing it out that, some of these, politicians and judges and everybody else have side things going, bro, that's bringing in dollars. Hillary Clinton did it. She was charging foreign diplomats $5 million just to sit down for a dinner with her, you know what I mean? And it wasn't illegal, but when you go back, and Hillary got in trouble for Benghazi, and they went back and looked at she was sitting down with a lot of foreign people, man, just to have dinner with them. She wasn't saying that they was talking policy or nothing or promising them nothing, but I'm sure they was putting something in her ear, for that $5 million. You get what I'm saying? So this is done all the time. Just have to know the legal route to do it. It's still doable, but I just believe that you got to do your due diligence on the legalities of it. And once you do that, man, you can make all this shit happen.
Hey, how do you think Jho Low felt when he found out that he gave Pras 20 million to make that picture happen, but it only cost him 2 and he kept 18 for himself?
Hey, you know what? I know he was like, "Damn, this dude right here," but at the same time, Jho Low over there, he stole $1 billion or something from a corporation in Malaysia. That's why he
Yeah.
got up out of there. So he got some bread to burn. But I know he was like, "This motherfucker."
Yeah. That's a hell of a finesse that Pras did. Hey, Jho Low, I need a few more million. I'm working on that picture for you, man. We're gonna make it happen, man. And we're gonna make it happen. Send me a couple more million. And
Right, right.
all it cost Pras was 2. So there, hey, that's what it costs now. That it let us know now, if you want to get close to the president and you have no access, it's going to cost you roughly between $1 and $2 million. All right, man. I got a question for you, man. This is a very controversial question.
hmm
How many genders are there?
You know what, Alex? Um, my answer is 2. But I also can't forget about that some people are born with both genitalias, and I mean, it's still only 2 genders, but it may just be a certain name that they may go by because you still only have a male and a female, and even if you put them together and and you have both, you still either one or the other or both of those 2. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? That's my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I don't know what they used to call that. There was an old term they used to call that. I don't even know if it's
Was
used
it
anymore.
hermaphrodite or something?
Yeah, hermaphrodite, but now they're using the
Yeah.
word intersex when you have
Oh,
both
okay.
genitalia.
And from what I'm
So,
hearing, it happens more than often, like more than people think. And people are born like that more than people think from what I'm hearing.
but I also read about it's considered a disorder or unnatural occurrence. It's not something that is a natural thing that the human body does. It's like a birth defect.
Right, right, right.
So technically, even considering the hermaphrodite, or i.e., the intersex person, that still means there's 2 genders, and then sometimes the 2 genders get mixed together.
100% clear on that. That's how I take on it. Did you hear something different?
Nah, well,
Or is
shoot,
somebody saying anything different?
I'm hearing that there's multiple genders. I'm not really sure the justification for it, but this 12-year-old boy wore a shirt to school the other day, and it on his shirt it said there are 2 genders. And I want to play a clip of this boy, because apparently the school told him that he can't wear that shirt,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't see the problem with the shirt. I don't know why they would tell him not to wear the shirt, other than it's politics, right?
Oh, no doubt at its finest, man. But at the same time, what happened to the right to wear it? You know what I mean? At the little boy said, he said, "I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung through the school." He said, because others have the right to their belief just as I do. And the whole thing about it is, how can you let one slide? Is how can somebody have a pride or certain shirt on and you don't say nothing about that, but when somebody has a shirt such as he had, it's a problem. It seemed like you just one standard should fit, for everybody, either all can wear it or nobody can wear it. So what's your take on it?
Well, this 12-year-old boy, Liam Marson, I guess decided to fight back, which I I agree that everyone has a right to expression, as long as it's not offensive or obscene. And I think the problem here is that the school district is claiming that saying there's 2 genders is offensive, which I disagree with. But let's listen to what this boy had to say after he was told not to wear the shirt. He is now addressing the school board in Massachusetts, Nichols Middle School, and the boy's name is Liam Marson.
Good evening. My name is Liam Marson. I'm in the 7th, 10th grade at Nichols Middle School. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with 2 adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, red on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I told I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions and came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I experienced. Wait, no. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. I'm sure I would have noticed if they had. I experienced disruptions to my learning every day. Kids acting out in class are a disruption, yet nothing is done. Why do the rules apply to one yet not another? I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I didn't go to school that day to hurt feelings or cause trouble. I have learned a lot from this experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. Even at school, this right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution. My hope in being here tonight is to bring the school committee's attention to this issue. I hope that you will speak up for the rest of us so we can express ourselves without being pulled out of class. Next time, it may not only be me, there might be more students that decide to speak out. Thank you for your time and good night.
There you go, Liam Marson from the great state of Massachusetts over there on the East Coast. And the first thing I want to say is I don't really believe that 12-year-olds should have the right to have political opinions. They're just too young. They're too little. They still learning. But I definitely believe he has a right to wear his shirt, and it shouldn't have been taken away. But once he said everyone has a right to wear pride flags, but then he threw in it diversity posters everywhere. I was saying to myself, we got a little MAGA boy on the loose
Right.
here in Massachusetts. Even though I agree with him, he got a little MAGA in him.
Well, I agree with him 100%, man. He was very well spoken. You know what I mean? To me, a kid with his intellect, at 12 years old, to me, he has a right to voice his opinion on any matter, whether it's political or not. He may not have all the facts and be able to understand exactly what he's saying, but at the same time, when you go back to the First Amendment and things of that nature, he could say what the fuck he want to say. The problem is where I came in is when they had the nerve to say that somebody felt like they was unsafe. So what was he? I mean, he didn't have a machete when he was walking around with his shirt on. So how the fuck you feel unsafe? And that's the thing of that kills me. You want to throw in unsafe or I don't feel comfortable. Life ain't comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? And like he say, your feelings seem like y'all feelings is more important than his rights. And I roll with him on that. And at the end of the day, no matter what you identify as, whether you're a man identify as a woman identify as a man, you know what I mean? A frog that identifies as an elephant, it's still only 2 genders. You know what I mean? It's either male or female, no matter what you identify as. So I believe at the same time, this school district need to come together, and somebody need to fight against the pressure of, like you say, rights versus feelings. Because just somebody feels some type of way don't mean you can take away somebody's rights because somebody feels some type of way. That's how I feel about it.
Well, you said the young boy was very articulate, but I believe his daddy wrote that speech for him.
No shit, yeah. But he spoke it though pretty good. But I definitely believe his dad wrote that, no doubt.
His dad said, "We about to go down.
Yeah, we about to go there. Yeah, no doubt. You know what I mean? But he definitely read it really good. So shit.
Hey, the little MAGA boy didn't read that good, but I believe he's a future MAGA boy right there. But I agree with wearing that shirt. That shouldn't be a problem. But I grew up in a household, man, where if you was 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah, probably 12, 13, you didn't really have no say so. You didn't really have an opinion. You didn't have a viewpoint that was going to be respected.
You did.
How about how you grew up?
Same way, and then not to mention, man, I'm 12 years old, man. I'm out there building ramps on my bike, man, throwing dirt rocks and eating fruit off people trees in the neighborhood, drinking out of water hoses, man. I some politics, you know what I mean? Opinion about some politics. Would nowhere in my vocabulary mind or thinking, nor would I would express them in front of the adults or around the adults that we grew up with, because you would get your ass out of here. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even, so but you got to think about it also, Alex. We didn't have the tools at our hand. We didn't have Google at our fingertips in order to know some of the shit that, Reagan and them was doing and the presidents before him. So we just didn't even know the shit. You know what I mean? I believe that they are a little more advanced based on the tools that's at their, disposal, so it's easier for them. I'm going to say this, it's easier for them to have an opinion because they can pick up their phone and CNN across their page, and they can basically differentiate what they feel is right and wrong. Not a real opinion on, the policies and shit, you know what I mean? But at the same time, okay, well, I feel that we shouldn't be in Ukraine, or they might make that opinion, but at the same time, it's running across their phone, so it's opinion that they can have. We would have never had that opinion because we wouldn't even knew shit that was going on about that at that time at 12 years old. So, that's why I say that, because, you get so much information just right in their face, that and being young intellectuals, I believe everybody is going to, now voicing those opinions is one thing. But, I'm sure that they all have them just based on, like I say, the information that they get on every day, TikTok and the rest of the shit.
Yeah, and also we can't forget that this boy and his family's from Massachusetts. They pretty hardcore in Massachusetts when it comes to race. It's not a pleasant place to be for
doubt.
non-whites. For
Real
non-whites.
shit.
That's why I'm saying this is a little future MAGA boy
Oh,
right
no, I know
there.
what you meant. You know what I mean? I agree with him, but definitely he's being, groomed to believe what they believe up there. You know what I mean? So, but I did have to, agree with him. Now, on the flip side, a school can just say, can't nobody wear shirts that express anything. I got it's some schools don't let you wear sports teams no more. I remember when I was in high school and shit, and when I was at Linwood High, we couldn't even wear hats. When I went to Cerritos and went to Gar High School, we were still able to wear hats. I used to wear my Pittsburgh Pirates hat. They called on fast, called me in the office and say, listen, you can't wear the Pittsburgh Pirates hat no more. I say, well, y'all stopping everybody from wearing hats? They were like, no, just you. You know what I mean? And so then I remember all together, they stopped letting you wear earrings, so it'll come down the pipeline where they'll be like, no expressions on shirts. You know what I mean? And that's why some of the school adopted the uniform to cut all that type of shit out, So, but like I said, I did agree that he, as long as everybody else can do it at school, he got the right to say what he had to say on that issue.
Hey, I remember I gave my little brother a T-shirt. I gave him a T-shirt that I bought here in LA. Remember Spike Lee, and they had a movie called they had a song called "Doing the Butt."
Yeah.
I had a T-shirt that had "Doing the Butt," and I gave it to my little brother. He said he wore it to school, and they told him he couldn't wear that shirt to school, and I think they sent him home.
Yeah, right.
For the doing the butt.
Yeah, and it was a dance, you know what I mean? It was a song and a dance, and the thing about it is, they gonna deem what they feel ain't right. I think they totally wrong though in this situation right here. And like I say, for future points, I'm gonna take a note out of his book, and when he says, how somebody feelings more important than my rights. You know what I mean? I'm gonna remember that,
Yeah, man. I agree with the little boy. There's only two genders, and until the technology can prove that there are multiple genders, I'm riding with the two genders that God created back in the day. All right.
No. Yep.
Okay. Missy Elliott, the first female rapper inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, just happened this week. Shout out to Missy Elliott. I've been a fan of hers since I believe she first came out in '97. But what do you think about that? I was shocked that there was no females in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a rapper. She's the first one.
She's the first one, but she's probably the first one with the kind of body of work that Missy has. Missy got a lot of behind the scenes shit that she's produced, wrote, and or played instruments in, and had the numbers that she had as record sales. She made a lot of money. The problem with, like, when you say some people that we would want in there per se, the MC Lights or the yo-yos or people who are just around, they didn't have the accolades that Missy Elliott has. And for when people say, well, I can name 10 other female rappers that should be in there, don't forget that in order to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you have to have music 25 years ago. So it's something that comes 25 years after. So for the Nicki Minaj's or the, things of that nature, it has to be 25 years. And nobody back in 25 years ago had the kind of power, pack, and punch that Missy Elliott had. So I do believe Queen Latifah did, but at the same time, Missy Elliott, I believe, had a whole lot more pack and power than, the rest of the females, especially 25 years ago.
Well, Missy Elliott is the first female rapper in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it might be because she's actually won Grammys.
No doubt.
I don't know how many Grammys she's got, and I don't even know if that's a proper criteria. But you mentioned MC Lyte. I would say that MC Lyte was nominated for Grammy, never won any. But she's got an impressive body of work too that predates Missy Elliott. That I personally feel MC Lyte. If Missy Elliott can be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, MC Lyte should be in there.
No doubt. But like I say, Missy Elliott sold over 40 million records worldwide. I don't think Lyte did that. You know what I mean? Because you also going by record sales. You also going by, she's a 4-time Grammy winner. I think it's other things in there, Alex, that apply. She was the best selling female rapper in history for a long time, probably up until Nicki Minaj came. So like I say, with the 25 years, with the 4 Grammys, with the 40 million records sold, that's probably what, got her over the hump for her to be, inducted. So I don't know Queen Latifah numbers. I don't know Lyte numbers. If you was to ask me personally, I would say, Lyte should be in there, no doubt. But I don't know if Lyte sold, that kind of records or won any Grammys. And so I kind of get it a little bit,
Well, you got to also realize that MC Lyte was in a different era before. She came out in the late 80s, and and Missy came out in the 90s, where hip hop was way more bigger, more people buying it, more people, paying to go see concerts. So she comes out in a era where people are spending way more money on hip hop. So yeah, I, without even looking it up, I know that Missy outsold MC Lyte. But just in terms of the body of the work and the impact, I think MC Lyte is like one of the first real rugged MCs. I'll put Queen Latifah in there as well. Both of them, MC Lyte and Queen Latifah, they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too as female MCs.
True, but like I said, I just don't know all the criteria that the Rock and Roll. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Everybody don't gets in it. So I believe, that I believe they did their homework, bro. I believe they sit down, did their homework, did the numbers across the board with all of them, and said Missy is the one. She deserves she fits the criteria. And I don't have no problem with it. But like you say, definitely, I wasn't a Missy Elliott fan like that. You know what I mean? I was definitely a Little Kim, MC Lyte. So if you was to ask me, you know what I mean? I believe Lil Kim and them should be in it, but at the same time, that's just a personal opinion of mine. Missy probably really have all the accolades that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame wanted in order to put her in there.
Well, they got quite a few male rappers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and some of these male rappers that they don't have Grammys, they don't have major record sales, Grandmaster Flash. They weren't even barely selling records back in them days.
Right.
Of course, LL is in it. Notorious B.I.G. is in it. Grandmaster Flash. But I guess it's just a waiting game. Public Enemy's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys actually were the first album to sell 5 million records. That's pretty incredible.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, but they're a white group though. That probably had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I remember the Beastie Boys. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that album that came out in either 86 or 87, that sold like 5 million. First rap album to sell 5 million. But to know that the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 are in there is good to know, because they're from an era where they weren't selling millions of records. You know, they were barely selling hundreds of thousands in rap. So that lets you know that someone like MC Lyte and Queen Latifah will eventually get in and deserve to get in terms of their body of work.
No doubt, for sure.
All right, so another music story. Rolling Stones, another list. Another list. This one is by Rolling Stone, the 100 greatest West Coast rap songs of all time. And we'll go from 10 to 1. We're not gonna go through the whole 100, but there is a link in the show notes that has all 100 of them in there. But from 10 to 1, Ice-T, 6 in the Morning, Mac Dre, Feeling Myself, Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice, Ice Cube, It Was a Good Day's number 7, Too Short, Blow the Whistle, Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity, Machiavelli, which is Tupac, Hail Mary, Kendrick Lamar featuring MCA, Mad City, NWA, Straight Outta Compton, and Dr. Dre, Nothing But a G Thing. And of those 10 songs, there's only one song I'm not familiar with. That would be Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity.
Right. Yeah, I haven't heard of that either. But at the same time, man, you know, I don't like this list at all. I just don't. You know, some things left off. You know, I don't believe Blow the Whistle was Too Short's biggest song. I can name 3 other songs that I would have put in place of that. Even though I would have left Too Short on it, I would have put a different song. It Was a Good Day was a real big song. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this MC8 and Kendrick Lamar Mad City, because it's up at number 3, man. And you know, I know Kendrick Lamar been doing this thing as a lyricist, but when you talk about the 100 greatest West Coast songs, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm gonna just say that.
Yeah, it's tough to do a list like this.
Yeah, no, it is. But at the same time, if I was able to see the whole 100, it's probably some songs I would definitely shuffle up in that top 10 and bring some of them top 10s down. And there was some great West Coast shit going on over 100 song span. Man, it was some bomb ass songs out there.
There's no way though that DJ Quick is not in my top 10 for West Coast though. I think they got him somewhere around 15, 16. I get it, you know, but I would have shuffled him up into the top 10 for sure.
No doubt. Now, you know, I ain't gonna argue with the artist that's on the top 10, but these songs, I don't know. I do believe 6 in the Morning was a fucking classic. You know what I mean? But hey, bro, like I said, if I saw the rest of the list, there's probably some songs that I definitely would knock off this list, you know, and bring down. So, I mean, it's always controversial when you get to talk about those 100 greatest songs and, you know, and things of that nature. But at the same time, man, there was some hits out there, you know. And they probably I don't know if they go by record sales. I don't know if they go by like notoriety. I don't know. But, you know, even having Pac as the only Hail Mary at number 4, you know, when I could think of, you know, some other Pac songs that could replace Hail Mary, you know, yeah.
You know how many people are going to be pissed that E40 doesn't come up on the list until 18? I'm sharing the screen right now. E40 there for Captain Saberho is 18. Some people put E40 as their top 5 rapper of all times.
No doubt. You know what I mean? A lot of people do, you know. But like I say, I don't like the list at all. You know, great songs on there. I just don't like the way the songs, because I just don't like them.
Who would you take out of the top 10?
I definitely would take out. I would not take out Tupac, but take out Machiavelli, take out a Hail Mary. I would put Hail Mary in there with 4 other songs before I put Hail Mary, but from Pac. Like I say, the Kendrick Lamar song, I'm not familiar with. If it's number 3, I don't know how I'm familiar with a West Coast song that's number 3 that's that high on the list. Today Was a Good Day was definitely a West Coast classic. So definitely the Kendrick Lamar and the I haven't heard Souls of Mischief either, so I can't say, I might know the song and just don't know that's what it's called. So I would take Blow the Whistle out and put another Too Short song in. It'd be different, it'll be different, bro.
Hey, Rodney O and Joe Cooley is up there at 15. Everlasting Bass, man. That was my
I
joint
was
right
looking
there.
at that. Yeah, that was a big song, man. That was a big song, So, even Cypress Hill, How Can I Kill a Man? That was a big song. I mean, I'm not saying it's not worthy of 17, but E40 with another song. I wasn't a big Captain Save a Hole. It was a cool song, but E40 got the Click has some shit. You know what I mean? And the songs that they put in there, raise it up just a little bit more. Like down towards number 20. Yeah, I'm not feeling that.
I don't think too many people will disagree with Nothing But a G Thing as number 1, right?
Yeah, you can't argue with that. You could, but you can't say that it don't deserve it. That was a big hit, man. With big West Coast song, man. But and Straight Outta Compton right behind it. Even if you flip those two, I don't think nobody would be mad. But it gets shady after that. After 1 and 2, it gets real shady, man.
Yeah, I like Ice-T 6 in the Morning there, but I would have bumped it up a little bit more only because of its impact on the culture.
No doubt, me
And
too. Yeah.
at the time he released it, nobody was doing that, in the 80s.
Exactly. That's why I feel that should definitely be up. That paved the way for some of this other stuff to even be on the list. You know what I mean? So I'm with you on that one.
I also don't think that Nipsey Hussle and Kendrick, they're too young to be that high up. This takes time. It takes time to earn these positions.
No doubt, and that's probably why I'm critical of that number 3 spot. That song right there, Mad City, very critical of it. I'm not familiar with the song, but at the same time, I'm critical of, like you say, the longevity that Kendrick has been around. You talking about dudes that's been doing this, man, 20, 30 years, man, that got super hits. But what they saying about Kendrick Lamar is that he is something special. I don't listen to his music a lot, but maybe Mad City was just such a hit. I don't know. And it's going to make me go listen to it now because I'm not familiar with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. That whole album is one of the greatest. But he's still young and he's still proving himself. He's still, I think he's on his 4th album now or 5th. He left TDE, which kind of surprised a lot of people because that's where he got all his success. But he's going to continue to do his thing. Nipsey at 11. That's pretty high, on a list of 100 West Coast songs. Nipsey at 11. I'm not so sure. Please don't hate on me, Nipsey fans, but I don't know if he deserves that high position on the top on the 100 lists.
Yeah, it was definitely a hit song, though. I can't say that, man. Definitely a hit song. I liked it, but you got it above, Fuck the Police, you got it above, DJ Quick.
And California Love by Tupac. I would have bumped that California Love up into the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. But like I say, when they make these lists, Alex, they play politics and shit, man. They trying to get everybody, in there, for political purposes and shit. I just don't think that, this list is. I mean, I would ask. Yeah, I don't think this list is just somebody put it together and that's what they put together, bro.
Yeah, well, I'll have a list of the whole 100 songs down in the notes. Go check it out. Leave us a comment and a thought on what you think is right or wrong about this list. But Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, baby, number 1. I don't think there's going to be too much debate about that. But if let's just say that is not number 1. Let's say that's not FG's number 1 song. What would your number 1 be then?
It definitely probably would be something by Pop. All Eyes on Me. Something off that album. He has some hits on that album, man. It'd probably be something by Pop. Definitely. Dre did. Dre even got other songs. Nothing But a G Thing was probably, like I said, a huge hit. But I wouldn't have had it as my number one song. Even if I would have put Straight Outta Compton up there or um, Ice Cube. But Nothing But a G Thing was a big hit, man. I can't take it from him. But I probably would have had Straight Outta Compton as number one. 6 in the Morning definitely would have been bumped up 4 or 5 spaces. But some of the people who make these lists may be kind of young, Alex, where they don't even know some of the impact that 6 in the Morning did. You know what I mean? They don't know the impact that Fuck the Police did. California Love was a big hit, but they had some super hits on them coming out. So I don't know, man. It would take me time to look at the 100 and then just break it down myself. People probably wouldn't like my list, so I think nobody be happy with these lists, man.
Well, if Nothing But a G Thing, if that song doesn't exist, because I don't mind that being number one, but let's just say it doesn't exist. My number one, it was tough. It's going to be between DJ Quick's Tonight, which is 16 on the list, and Ice Cube, It Was a Good Day. Both of those songs I would bump up into the top 5. But all right, man. Tap in the show notes for a list of those top 100 West Coast songs. And remember, this was done by Rolling Stone magazine, so keep that in mind. We don't know what their full criteria is, but I'll try to put a link to that below. And let me just move on to this last story, man. We got a little gangster story here out of L.A. Brother named Jamal Jackson, 24 years old. Apparently got mad at some people that were cleaning graffiti on the wall and decides to shoot them all up, killing one of the persons out there in Northridge, which is in the San Fernando Valley. And he's arrested. And it's just a bizarre story because he's shooting up some people that were cleaning graffiti, but these guys that were cleaning graffiti they offered to clean the graffiti for free with the store owner. And then this guy pulls up. Let me show you a picture of this guy. This guy pulls up and he decides to blast them. Apparently there's footage of what happened, but in the article that I have here, they just show a screen capture of the footage. You see a little bit of graffiti on the wall. You can't make out what set, what gangs. And the first thing that stands out to me is that there's not a lot of black folks in Northridge in the first place. But,
right.
There's a few, but not a whole lot. Definitely not to the point where the gangs, well, you know what? There are more and more brothers moving out to the Valley. So the gang stuff does get transported to the San Fernando Valley. They already got some homegrown gangs there. We all know they got Pacoima Piru, Two Peas and a Beast, Pacoima Piru Bloods. They got OVG, which is on the Crip side. They have Whitset Gangsta Crips, which are in North Hollywood. And there's a couple of gangs in Panorama City that I'm forgetting about. But yeah, the first thing that stood out to me is, man, brothers in the Valley, it's not a common thing.
Man, what stands out to me though is I just don't get it, man. I sometimes I'll be wanting to think that I'm, just I don't know, older, but I just do not get, bro. Why is you shooting up some people that's cleaning off graffiti? Some people who appear to not be gang members, some people who didn't write the gang graffiti, some people who's not crossing it out, and you pull up and you air out the gang graffiti cleaning crew. I mean, and you're in custody, I mean, you'll give up your life for some, that's what I don't get. You'll trade your life for somebody to shoot somebody that's cleaning graffiti off a wall. Not somebody who shot you, not somebody who robbed you, not somebody who killed your close homeboy, but somebody who's cleaning graffiti off a wall. I don't get it, bro.
Well, that's the official story that he pulled up on these guys cleaning the graffiti on the wall. But when I read this article, it just doesn't feel right. And when I don't think an article feels right, I'm usually correct, but it takes time for the true story, for the full narrative to come out. I believe that the people cleaning the wall were up to something else. I really don't believe this guy just said, "Oh wow, they're cleaning graffiti. I'm about to bust on them." This article just leaves out too many facts.
I mean, do you think one of the dudes that was cleaning off graffiti was the op? You think, he really was gunning for somebody, personally at that moment? All those questions that could be true though, but at the same time, for what I can just read in the article, because that's all I have to go by at the moment. He opened fire on a group of people cleaning graffiti off the wall. So, or did he think that people was crossing out his hood or something? I mean, I don't have none of those details, so I don't understand what his logic is. I don't know what his mental capacity is as far as him as a human being. I don't know if he have any mental issues. I know he got a big ass knot on his forehead.
Yeah.
Look like somebody that knocked the shit out of him. Maybe he just wasn't right in the head. So all those questions gonna come out soon. You know how it go. Like you say, the real story gonna come out later.
Well, maybe one of those guys that was cleaning the graffiti got into a fight with him earlier in the day and put that knot on his head, and he just decided to come back and air everybody out.
That makes plenty of sense, but just like you say, the way they word it, some innocent bystanders cleaning graffiti get gunned down, it's always more to it than that, but at the same time, you going up to a liquor store, a gas station, and things of that nature, Alex. I talk about it all the time. There's cameras everywhere. You know what I mean? Bro, they caught you so fast. It was ridiculous, So at the end of the day, is you willing to trade your life for whatever happened at the gas station? Even if somebody did put that knot on your head, are you so in your emotions that you can't wait to get your man in a better way? That you just, got to air the shit out and then get caught for it. Now you on trial for murder. That's my whole point with this shit. I mean, my life, Alex, is not worth the next scumbag's life. You know what I mean? That don't mean I won't do nothing to nobody. It's just I'm not trying to give up mine just willingly to get you. You feel me? I'm not trying to tell nobody out there to plot and plan better, but at the same time, I'm trying to tell you, bro, I just believe my life is worth more than the next dude life, for me. You know what I mean? So gotta be wise out there with all this technology that they got out there, bro.
Well, I think this story. There's a lot more to this story. I remember maybe 10 years ago, a guy was cleaning graffiti for Homeboy Industries, Father Greg Boyle's anti-gang organization out there in Boyle Heights. There was some people cleaning graffiti for Homeboy Industries, and they got shot up. But it turns out that the guys that were cleaning graffitis were former gang members. Maybe they weren't that former, or kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And the shooting actually was much more was involved than the initial story that graffiti cleaners from Homeboy Industry get shot up. So unfortunately, these stories leave out all the details, and until the case goes to court, those details will be revealed. I just don't believe this guy just decided to just randomly start shooting up guys that was cleaning graffiti. But unfortunately, it's possible that one of the guys that died, they say it's a 60-year-old person that passed, that he allegedly shot up. Let's see, the title of the article is 60-year-old man gets killed, but the victim's not even identified in this article. There we go. The title of this article: Los Angeles convicted felon out on probation accused of gunning down 60-year-old man removing gang graffiti. But there's no mention of this 60-year-old man in the article, so we're just gonna have to wait and find out what this is all about. But yeah, then this just went down San Fernando Valley, the northern part of Los Angeles. Jamal Jackson. Hey, does that guy look like he's 24 years old?
Hell no, he looked like he's 44, but the
Yeah.
thing about it is this also, he did knock down a 60-year-old man. When he get to court, you get in trial, it's you knock down another 24-year-old black man, you knock down a 60-year-old man, that's going to carry weight. This case right here also got some political ties because they trying to make it seem like, put it on George Gascon that he let this dude out on a gun, on probation from a gun case. George Gascon is in a political race with another candidate. So the other candidate seemed like he put this article out because he criticizes Gascon quite often in this case. He's using this case this scenario right here for to get voters, saying that Gascon let this guy out. Gascon did come back with a reply and say, the district attorney does not only a judge can give out time, give out probation, give out, so the judge made that call as well. So don't, he was telling his nemesis or the guy that's running against him and, knock it off, but unfortunately in this case, a 60-year-old man did die, and this young man's going to have to answer to that.
Yeah, that's another reason to question this article, because of the whole political implications of the information that's being written in this article, because it is a hit piece kind of against Gascon.
Right, no doubt.
So once you start reading between the lines, you know that there's a lot of information we don't have. But what I'm showing right now is a screen capture of the location where this shooting took place, and it's on a street called Parthenia. It's a well-known street out there in Panorama City, and there's some graffiti on the wall that you can't make out. But yeah, this article, some low key is attacking George Gascon, because I guess the implication is that if you would have never released this guy from jail, this incident would have never happened. Is really what they're trying to say. So that's all I got to say on that matter. Well, I'll try to follow up and get some more information. This guy goes to court. Let's see. I looked him up. I don't have his court date here, but Tory Lanez will be in court next week.
Oh, okay.
And Tory Lanez will be fighting for his life next week. He's filed a motion that's bringing up at least 8 to 15 reasons why he should get a retrial, and the lawyers will be battling it out. And I can't wait to see that next week, and I will give you guys all the update. But I'll predict right now that it's probably slim to unlikely that he will get a retrial. Like, it's very rare that a judge says, you know what, I messed up, let's do it again.
Right, no doubt. But I'm not mad at him for trying to exhaust all his options. You know what I mean? It is his life on the line. So, I get it. But definitely keep us posted on that, Alex.
Well, if you could afford it, like I'm sure Tory Lanez can, spend that $200,000-$300,000 on those high power lawyers and throw everything against the wall and see what happens. Hey, did you notice the lawyer that was defending Pras in those pictures?
I did. You know what? I was gonna say something. I don't want to interrupt you and shit, but I was like, man, that looked like Alex guy right there.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
I forgot to mention that that's David Kenner.
I definitely saw it. As soon as you put the thing up, I said that's David Kenner. You know what I mean? But yeah, I did see that, man.
So that's a lot of people think David Kenner is undefeated, but he lost in this case. He was literally defending Pras, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he wasn't able to jump on Tory Lanez's case, because he was busy with Pras's case, and that's federal court. This is different, When you're in federal court, you got to put all your attention and energy on that trial. You can't be bouncing around multiple cases. So he is not on the Tory Lanez case anymore, David Kenner. And it's now just Jose Baez and Matthew Barhoma, who is going to be arguing those motions.
Okay.
Any last thoughts, FG?
Nah, man, like I say, man, it's a lot of things going on out there, Alex. We got to start tapping in for some of them OGs out there on the streets, man. I know the Streets and Scholar listeners are hitting me up in the DMs, man. They want us to, get some G's on here to talk about a few things, that's going on around LA, Compton, Watts area, and also San Diego. It's a lot of movement going on, and tap in with some of them and get their views on some of these same issues we talking about, but get their views on it, so.
Yeah, we're going to start bringing some guests on. People could reach out. I'll reach out. They could reach out. And where can people reach out and find you, FG?
Oh, they reaching out F General 1 on Instagram. I'm still over there on YouTube. It looks dead, but it's going to come alive on FG Unleashed, and so y'all keep riding with me, man, and keep riding with the Streets and Scholars podcast. We appreciate y'all.
And for everyone that's listening to us on Apple Podcasts, you could leave a question. You could leave us a rating and a review right there on your app or on your computer on Apple Podcasts. And follow us if you're using any of the other podcast platforms, iHeart, Spotify, and Google. And tap in with me, Alex Alonso 101. I'll be tweeting all the Tory Lane stuff on my Twitter page at Alex Alonso 101. And you could also find me on Instagram at the same handle. And then we'll put some clips up of this podcast on Street TV YouTube channel. That's at the Street TV YouTube channel. And go ahead.
Hey, if you get a chance, put up a poll on Streets and Scholars Instagram to see if anybody want us to see us go live on Streets and Scholars with their questions and see what kind of feedback we get. If we get, some decent feedback, we'll go live for them one day soon.
Yeah, we can definitely start doing some lives on YouTube. We got all the equipment and the technology to do so, and it seems like a lot of people are moving towards those live feeds, and we'll be doing that shortly as well. And thanks for tapping in on another fire episode of Streets and Scholars.